Welcome to Waywut, your weekly verbal double take. This is a rabbit hole podcast where a couple of old guys do moderate to shallow dives into various topics, ranging from true crime, paranormal, sports, pop culture, or anything else that we find interesting. We drop episodes every Tuesday and on Fridays if we feel like it. You can follow us on Facebook, X, and TikTok. We appreciate you joining us. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go.
Well, hello there. And today, I'm on top of the jungle gym and will monkey bar across to another topic. Made me say, wait, what?
If you're on top of it, how are you monkey barring? That's what you do under it, where you do that.
Well, just go with a metaphor.
Okay, sorry.
Joining me on the playground in a heap below the enormous tire pyramid that somehow was allowed to be there is Darrell.
You're going to have to explain that to people.
All right. Well,
I've had to explain it to people before, so I feel your pain.
In elementary school, we had a playground, and it was all the playground equipment that you normally would see. You know, a giant slide. Of course, it was made out of steel. We had swings that were made out of rusted chains and broken plastic seats. We had tires tires that were buried in the ground that tractor tires that we could play on. But the coup de grace, the biggest thing we had was this 30-40 foot tall tire pyramid.
It was 20 feet because it was
tall.
Yeah, well, the supports that held it were telephone poles.
Yeah, and so you had three sides of this pyramid with tires that allowed you to climb up the sides of it.
So,
they were painted red, white, and blue. Yeah.
3 telephone poles that crossed each other up top, made a pyramid, like a teepee. Mm-hmm. And then in between that empty space between all of the telephone poles, there were tires. Tires that they painted red, white, and blue that kids got to climb on until they were about 20 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
but nothing below.
And that's what Kevin fell off of and broke his arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once again, why these things were there, how we're allowed to play with them, who knows?
That's why they were there.
Mm-hmm. Well, on this episode, I have prepared a big, steamy number 2, as I have found more cartoon conspiracy theories.
Oh.
In the first episode, we talked about the conspiracy of Wile E. Coyote being in purgatory, and Winnie the Pooh and the rest of the characters, and SpongeBob and his cohorts, and their psychological disorders. It was a pretty interesting discussion. Well, I'm going to preface this again by saying I don't believe these conspiracies. I do find them interesting, and I think they'll be fun to talk about. And I'm going to present them to you as if I'm trying to sell you on them, like this is what a person who believes this theory would tell you.
He believes them.
I don't believe them. Some of them are very interesting, and some of them are actually been confirmed.
I'm going to argue with you as if you believe them. So please don't be offended whenever I sit there and say, Jason, you fucking idiot. That's not it at all.
No, argue with the person who came up with them. But they're great topics to talk about. The first one is, do you think you can name all 7 dwarfs from Snow White?
Yeah.
Right,
would you let me do it?
I would like for you to do it.
All right. Dopey, Sleepy, Happy, Doc, Grumpy, Bashful. Fuck. Dopey, Doc, Bashful, Sleepy, Happy, Grumpy, Sneezy. Boom.
There you go.
I always forget that. He's lame. It's like, okay, he's a dwarf with a fucking sinus infection. What do I care?
Well, it's a long-held fan theory that Snow White and the 7 dwarfs is one big metaphor for cocaine addiction. The name of the main character, Snow White, well, that's an obvious nod to the drug itself. The dwarfs, who are named according to their personalities, match up perfectly to the stages of cocaine addiction and withdrawal. You have Happy and Grumpy, who symbolize mood swings. You have Dopey, Sneezy, and Sleepy, are nods to the actual stages of being on the drug. And there's Doc there to cure them all. Would it be going too far to say that Snow White's deep sleep could actually be considered an overdose?
Yes, it is going too far.
Right?
This is a horrible one. It was called Snow White when it was written like
In the
what in the
40s, 30s, whatever it
no
was.
no I mean the actual Snow White fairy tale was written way before that.
Say all these cartoon conspiracy theories, they have too much time as far as it's a cartoon with a very basic plot.
I
Here's a
mean
coyote, here's a roadrunner. They're going to try to get each other, and that's all we're going to talk about.
there.
And
I
and
mean
it's interesting.
I mean I can see them doing the one with having this theory when it comes to the dwarfs. I mean those were created in the 40s by no god it was before that. It might have been 30s or whatever by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
This, I mean, Snow White was first written down in 1812.
Really?
Yeah. So the cocaine wasn't really used like that necessarily yet, and nobody was like, "Oh, the devil is of a cocaine," because as soon as everybody figured it out, they're just like, "Fuck yeah, cocaine! Everybody have some. We're putting it in our drinks. We're gonna put it in. Give it to your kids. It's great."
Yeah. Put it on your
So
toothache.
when it so I maybe there might be something behind like the dwarfs,
The introduction to the dwarfs.
maybe, but other than that, I honestly I don't think it has anything to do with cocaine. I just think it's like let's have some names that are easy for kids to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I don't believe in these. I'm just presenting them as I found them.
I don't know. You believed it until I corrected you just now.
No. Well, this one actually has been confirmed in a sense. Okay. In the case of the movie Cars, a disturbing theory was actually confirmed by the creative director himself, Jay Ward. The theory goes that in the universe of Cars, we don't see humans because they simply don't exist anymore. When the Cars became superior beings, they realized that there was no need for humans anymore, and they killed them. To add insult to injury, Ward confirmed that the cars, in fact, take on the personality of the last person who drove them.
What about the new baby cars that are born?
Yeah.
See, there's holes in that. But I have heard that before that the creator kind of was like, yeah, okay, yeah, they killed all the people. I personally like the theory that it is the world of Maximum Overdrive. You ever seen that movie?
With no, I know what you're talking about though.
All right, so Emilio Estevez. It's based on a Stephen King short story called Trucks, and Stephen King, all with a nose full of cocaine, decided I want to direct it, and so it's his only time he ever directed a movie, and it's full of AC/DC songs. They did, AC/DC did the complete soundtrack, and Emilio Estevez is like a badass going up against an 18-wheeler with a Green Goblin on the front of it. Uh, it's a badass movie, and I would like to think of Cars as a sequel to Maximum Overdrive. So I like that. I like that theory. That's the theory I stand with.
It kind of, I thought he was just being stereotypical on the cars they had in there as far as what voices they were going to have.
What do you mean?
Well, like the lowrider car,
Oh,
it's got a Hispanic voice. You see the little was it Fiat or whatever? It's got an Italian voice. The I changed tires or I whatever he says.
you,
The little mechanic guy,
okay.
the one that changes the tires.
All right.
I
What
just
about him?
it's an Italian car and they're
Oh,
making him Italian. I'm just
was there any kind of stereotypical car that was black in that I missed? I've only ever seen Cars once.
uh no, but I know that Wanda Sykes was one of the voices, but I don't think there was a stereotypical car. But
Was she an old junky car with really nice rims?
no, no, no. But you have the other race car driver with a mustache. He was all country like Dale Earnhardt,
Well,
and
I mean, Tow Mater.
yeah,
So
I
that's the
don't
one thing I remember is Larry the Cable Guy and Paul Newman. I was like, wow, Paul Newman's in a Pixar movie. What the fuck?
know. I like the movie, and I kind of like that theory. I always thought it was kind of a stereotypical, like I said, of them taking on the personalities of the car that they were showing, and it kind of makes sense.
I like the. I'd rather it just be a sequel to Maximum Overdrive. And if you haven't watched that movie, go watch that movie. It's terrible. The voice of Lisa Simpson's in it. Yeardley Smith.
Oh, okay. Well, this next one is another stretch. All right. Like I said, I don't believe it. I'm just presenting it as I found it. This theory argues that the entire movie of Toy Story 3 is more or less a Holocaust story. It may seem ridiculous, but this is the evidence that they said it's too hard to ignore.
Okay.
When Andy is going off to college, the toys start worrying about exactly where they will be sent off to, since they aren't welcome in their own home anymore, just as they're saying, just as the Jews were forced from their homes. Woody gives a speech to the toys that is similar to a speech given in the Holocaust film The Pianist, and Buzz Lightyear even suggests they all hide in the attic, which is a nod to Anne Frank. The toys are all then shipped off in dark boxes, and they end up at a daycare center where toys are mistreated and eventually incinerated. Most of the toys may survive in the end, but all clues still point to this being a cartoon rendition of the Holocaust.
It's been a while since I've seen Toy Story 3. Was there a part where they were raping any of them or tattooing numbers on their arms or
No.
anything like that? No, they did they put them in a gas chamber or anything?
No, there was a lot of forced, you're going to stay here, put you in cages.
Did they pull the gold out of them so that they could, melt
No,
it down and
nothing.
sell it? No.
No, they were almost incinerated in a fire.
Oh,
That is
well,
true.
yeah. Oh, yeah, because that was the only time anybody was ever burned up.
I'm not saying these are true once again.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you
No
are.
way am I true.
You are putting it out there. You are presenting it. You are owning it. You're saying it's true.
That's a topic to discuss. I mean, you got to give them credit as far as creativity. Creativity.
No, that is shallow and weak, and I'm not impressed. That is pathetic. I mean, that's like pound puppies. Remember the little stuffed animals, and they came in little crates. They're like, it was really just trying to be similar to rescuing Jews from the Holocaust. Every time we got a pound puppy, you were rescuing a Jew. No, but it was in a box, Darrell. It was in a box. Okay. Raid commercials, whenever they would gas the bugs, they were trying to turn us all into Nazis. What?
Well, this next one's not a cartoon, but it was on a station or channel that showed cartoons.
All right.
There's a fan theory that suggests not only that Drake and Josh, iCarly, and a Victorious all take place within the same universe, but that Drake and Josh is actually a reality TV series within the world of those other shows. The first piece of evidence is that all three shows use pear technology, which is a parody of Apple. The second clue is the monologues that open each episode, where Drake and Josh address the audience directly, just like they do in reality shows. And lastly, and the most convincing evidence, is that Carly watches the show in one episode of iCarly, and that characters of Victorious reference it as a TV show in another. So they're actually watching Drake and Josh on iCarly, and Victorious, they're watching Drake and Josh.
I didn't have cable growing up, and then by the time I think a lot of times by the time those shows were popular, I think I was an adult, and it would have been just kind of weird being like, kind of like the creepy, like the guy that fucking made all those shows, Dan Schneider.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about that too.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's like, oh, is Drake and Josh a reality show? Oh, you mean the one where Drake was getting molested a bunch? That show.
The show itself was pretty good.
Jason's like, I don't care about that.
Mm-mm.
The show is a reality show in the show. Okay. Don't care. Don't know. I'm not going to argue.
You ever seen Drake and Josh?
No.
We watched it a lot because my kids were at the age of watching the show, and it was pretty funny.
I mean, my oldest daughter, she watched iCarly.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was funny.
I saw bits and pieces of that. She didn't watch Drake and Josh. She didn't watch Victorious. She watched that wizard one. The one with Selena Gomez. You watched that one?
Wizards of Waverly.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I just remember it was the Selena Gomez one, and I think there was a Deloise in it too.
I don't know. I like this. I like this theory. Of all of the ones that I'm going to present, I like this one.
Oh, cool. Sounds lame.
Well, you didn't watch the show, so you don't see how they were interacting.
Didn't they have crossovers or anything? Because that's what a lot of shows do. Is they didn't do any crossovers.
No. Only thing, like I said, it was that they were in iCarly and in Victorious. They referenced watching episodes of Drake and Josh.
Well, all right.
Kind of different one. All right, this is one I know you've seen this cartoon before. If I was to ask 100 people as to when the Flintstones were based, 100 of the people would say the Stone Age or way back in the past. But what if I told you there is a theory that they are based way in the future? Evidence for this one comes from the 1978 TV movie The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, where a malfunction with a time machine leads to two cartoon families coming face to face. Now, how does this support the theory? Well, the time machine was created by Elroy Jetson to bring his family to the future, which is supposed to be further in time than in the future in which they already live. So further into the future and what the Jetsons already got going on. But what if the machine actually worked? We know the Jetsons live in the sky, and perhaps they're doing that to avoid the nuclear wasteland below that's been brewing into another Stone Age. That means the Flintstones is actually set in a post-apocalyptic future instead of thousands of years in the past.
All right. I've heard a similar theory, but rather than Elroy's time machine actually working at all, it just says that it somehow it failed, but it brought them down to the ground, and that the Flintstones had been happening on the surface of the earth this whole time while the Jetsons were living up in the sky, and neither one of them were aware of each other.
Okay. That's kind of coinciding with this one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would make more sense because that's why we don't have like fossils of like dishwashers with like a dead small elephant inside of it. We don't have any fossilized dishwasher with a fossilized elephant skeleton in there, and we're not finding ancient bowling alleys.
And I did love the way they would show how certain things worked, and they would, like you said, the dishwasher would have an elephant in there spraying it with a trunk or whatever. I really enjoyed that.
It was a good show. I like the Flintstones.
Didn't they used to smoke cigarettes in that show too?
They used to advertise cigarettes. At Barney and Fred, they would be smoking their Cools. I think it was Cools that they advertised. Now I got to look it up, see which cigarette brand Flintstones advertised. Which cigarettes did the Flintstones advertise?
We've come a long way from that. You can't advertise in a magazine anymore.
Oh, they did Winston's. That was my backup brand.
Yeah,
back when I was a smoker.
Yeah, much cheaper.
Well, and not much cheaper. No, usually about 30 to 40 cents a pack. But that was my backup brand. Winston's or Camels, and Marlboro was my number one. And then whenever they increased it $1 a pack, that's whenever I went to Sky Dancers, which were a cheap cigarette, a super cheap cigarette.
Oh, well, I remember you used to roll your own cigarettes.
I did. I saved a lot of money that way, but it lost a lot of time. It was very time consuming.
Have you seen how much cigarettes are now? I mean, they're like $11 a pack for a pack of Marlboros.
I mean, shit. When was the last time I bought? Last time I bought a pack of cigarettes was it when we stayed in Shreveport? Was that the time? Yeah, I bought a pack of Lucky Strikes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I bought a pack of Lucky Strikes, and it took me forever to smoke. Well, no, it didn't take me. No, I didn't finish them, and then I brought them home, and then I finished them over a couple of visits to casinos. But yeah, now it's just smoking is just so much work. I'd rather not. Now it's just I'll just vape.
It's easier.
Yeah,
and don't stink as bad either.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe Flintstones, Jetsons, same time period. Jason thinks they're in the future because he believes all these conspiracy theories.
How many times have I got to say I don't believe them?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
No, they're interesting. There's so many of them. I mean, I like conspiracy theories, not just cartoon ones. All
All
right.
right.
The next one, The Fairly Odd Parents. Remember that cartoon?
I never really sat down and watched it. I tried a couple times because as much as I didn't watch the kid TV shows, like Drake and Josh and all
Mm.
that, I did love a lot of the cartoons. Like Invader Zim is like it was a Nickelodeon cartoon, and I think it's one of the best things that's ever been made. And I
Teen
love it.
Titans. Teen Titans was good.
I didn't really do Teen Titans.
Oh,
I
no.
tried. It's got its moments.
You talking about a little bit older, like Courage the Cowardly Dog, or
Oh, those are good. Johnny Bravo,
mm,
Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, those were good. Oh, Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken? Yes, that's what it reminds me of on the Planet to the Moolah game.
Oh, Moo.
Mm.
Moo.
Oh, we're going there on Friday, by the way.
Oh, have fun.
All
I just
right.
gambled a bunch on a boat, so I don't think we're going to make any casino trips anytime soon. So
We're gonna make a run. We're making a run.
go for it.
Yep. All right. With Fairly Odd Parents. While you may have thought that Timmy Turner was a lucky little boy with fairy godparents that could grant his every wish, what you were actually seeing was a metaphor for Timmy taking antidepressants to ensure he made it through the day. How does this make sense? Well, this theory states that this scenario is possible because the godparents only appear when Timmy's life starts to take a tumble, but they aren't around when he doesn't need them. And on top of this, too much use of their magic is shown to have disastrous results on Timmy's personality, or on Timmy personally.
That's fucking retarded.
I'm telling
Sorry.
you, these cartoons have such a simple premise, and then people sit there and then try to break them down like, oh, this is what they really mean about it. And it's not true at all.
I think it's it's a lesson that so many cartoons have done over the years where if you get everything the easy way, it's bound to blow up in your face. You take shortcuts. That's always what it was. They try to take shortcuts and it goes wrong. Uh, and it's supposed to be entertaining because pretty much everybody on there is retarded. So, but yeah, that's just somebody's like, hey, I got an idea. I want to sound deep today. I want people to talk to me on the internet. So I'm going to come up with an asinine theory. What is it? Oh, Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes was it was a trans male that grew up as a female tiger, and you could tell because the Frosted Flakes are sweet and cornflakes were made to make men not touch themselves. What? I don't get it. Oh, it's because you're not deep enough. Fucking retarded.
Well, we know about the cornflake thing. We know that was end up being true.
Yeah, so it's got to be true about Tony the Tiger. I mean, I didn't just make it up while I was talking at all.
All right, this is one of the older cartoons that you've probably seen too that fall in line with Courage the Cowardly Dog and Powerpuff Girls. It was Ed, Ed, and Eddy.
That's a
And
good one.
it was a good one. In the show Ed, Ed, and Eddy, the boys and their friends seem to enjoy an endless summer with no adults anywhere to be found.
I know
While
this
that's
one.
not necessarily grounds for assuming they're dead, there are many clues that made fans wonder. Since purgatory is a loop you can't get out of, the literal loop the children live in is a cul-de-sac, is the one and only setting of the show. While there's no apparent year that the show takes place, both 1972 and 1999 are referenced in different episodes as being the current year. It also shows them using different items from different eras. You will see some using typewriters, or in other episodes, a computer, or cassette tapes, CDs, etc. Even stranger, the children's tongues are all green or blue, something that does actually happen to tongues post mortem. Now, fans have gone into incredible detail with this theory, okay, chronicling every character and what got them to purgatory in the first place. How they came up with this, I have no idea. But they gave each character a pretty much a freaking backstory. And
Uh, I thought it was Limbo that they were in because Limbo's where children are supposed, getting all like weird Catholic-y stuff is, like when a baby dies, that's
mhm.
supposed to be where they go. things
Instead of
along
a
those lines.
harsher word of
See,
purgatory.
because purgatory is not a harsh word, because purgatory in the Catholic sense is where somebody goes before they go to heaven. You go to purgatory, you're eventually going to heaven. That's where
Okay.
it's basically a way to cleanse you on your way up. There's certain things that soul has to go through to make sure that it can get up there. So I see it being probably more likely limbo. I've always liked this theory because it does drive me crazy whenever you watch like cartoons where it's like kids and there's no adults around.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that always kind of stuck out to me, it put me off from watching Ed and Eddy whenever it first came out, was I was like, yeah, all the drawings are kind of ugly. They're
Mm-hmm.
kind of ugly. I mean, they're not like gross, but they're ugly. And it's like, oh, well, if they're all dead, then yeah, they're probably not looking their best. And I've always liked that theory. I mean, it was a fun show. I liked it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a cool theory because
I did think it was
I
weird that their tongues were blue and green and not
that
red
went
and
past
pink.
me. That went past me. Colorblind.
Oh. Yeah, well, you would have missed that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with the drawings. They're kind of rude and or not crude. They're kind of crude and not very great. Even the
Yeah, none of them.
backgrounds, yeah, even the background area is not really done well.
Yeah, I think it's well, and I mean, just all the characters they look odd and a little disheveled and deformed and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
think my favorite character on there, it wasn't Jimmy, although he was a close second. Jimmy was the one with the
The
headgear.
dental halo, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to talk like this. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like the I can't remember his name. The one with Plank. He
Uh,
had his best friend was the board.
I have it on here. I have all the characters on here. Where is he? Oh, I
The
don't. I thought Plank was the one with the headpiece.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Jimmy was the okay. Jimmy is the dental halo. This is what they say how he got into this purgatory slash what'd you call it, limbo.
Yeah, Limbo.
They say he struggled with leukemia. He created Plank to compensate for his abundance of spare time and lack of friends. And Jimmy died in 1922, taking Plank with him. Once again, how they
No,
came up with this, I don't know.
wait, Jimmy didn't have Plank. Johnny has Plank.
I don't see
Johnny,
a
it doesn't.
Johnny.
Johnny, Jonny. Jimmy and Johnny are two different characters. Jimmy is the little sissy boy with the dental halo that's always hanging around Ed's sister, who's like the bitch that's always sitting there screaming. And Johnny's more out of it, looks dazed, and he has Plank. And the reason, I don't know, I think my favorite Plank moment ever is there's one episode where he's playing hide and seek with Plank or something, or they hide Plank from him, and he's like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Oh." And he hears them, and then he runs over, and he's like, "There! I thought I heard you over here." I was like, "What the hell?"
Well, some of the other characters, I might have got that one a little bit confused, was Rolf. Rolf is the one with the funny accent, the foreigner.
Yeah.
His backstory they gave him was he lived and worked with his family on the family farm. First to live on the land known as the cul-de-sac. Rolf died in 1903 in the family farm after being trampled by a bull. He continues his duties as a farm boy in the afterlife. So that kind of explains why he's kind of doing the older type stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe, maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. No. Like I said, I like the theory. This is one that I find entertaining.
Eddy, the main character, the swindler, the one that talked a lot and got on everybody's nerves.
Mm-hmm.
This one moved to the neighborhood around 1932. Drowned in 1939 when he was on the run from a group of kids trying to get revenge after he had duped them.
Well, what about Double D?
Double D, Ed and Sarah, the idiot and the sister. Born in the late 1940s, mother worked, no time to watch her kids. Sarah had to step up and play role of mom. Made her controlling and obsessive. Ed got obsesses with comic books, sci-fi, and monster movies, which made him distant. Both died in a car accident while going to visit their grandparents.
All right, and then Ed Single D, the retarded one.
Uh, Smart, nervous one, yeah.
No, he's
Born in
not
the,
a smart nerve. He's no, he's dumb. He's the one to. Okay.
That was the
Eddie.
one I just read.
Double D's the smart one.
Yeah, Double D's the smart one. Born in the late born in the late 80s to Jewish parents. He died in 1986 due to a gas leakage that occurred while he was doing an experiment. Exploded right in his face. Died in hospital. The nature of his death explains the weird sock-like cap he always puts on that never showed his head throughout the whole show.
So that's Double D. Okay. And then Ed was the one that has the sister Sarah because he's stupid and his sister's bossy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Ed was
It's been a long time since I
Eddie.
watched it.
Yeah, there's a lot of Eddies with lots of D's.
It's regular. It's Ed with one D. Then there's Ed Double D, and then there's Eddie.
Mm-hmm. And then there is which one did I skip? Nas, the carefree girl that's in the show. She was born in the hippie era of the late 60s and 70s. The summer of 79, killed and sexually messed up by a serial killer.
That's kind of fucked up. Why'd they add that in there?
Right? She shuts out the memory of her entire family and lives without repercussions, which explains why her parents never demand anything from her.
I don't see how any of that leads to her being like assaulted. That's retarded. That's
Yeah.
just so, look at me, I'm being edgy. It's like, shut the fuck up, drink your Sunny Delight and write something happy.
Yeah, that was a pretty harsh one there.
Yeah.
Kevin, the bully, was born in the 90s, had a drunken stepfather, took to bullying, died in 99 after getting beat to death by his father. Projects his... Say that again?
They didn't want to get dark with that one and have him shot in a school shooting or something.
Right. I mean, it's dark enough already. He projects his father as a perfect dad to suppress the bad memory. And the last characters I have, the Canker sisters, the tormentors that show up and...
The ones that always want to kiss on Ed and Eddie.
Yeah, well, this is the cool thing about this one, or the different one. These three teenage girls who torment everyone in the cul-de-sac are actually demons sent from hell. These are the only characters with normal skin color and tongue color.
Probably not demons sent from hell, but definitely unearthly beings.
Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting one. I mean, I don't know how they came up with their backstories. I guess maybe based off of watching the show and just put something together, but it's interesting.
It's neat.
It's interesting.
Now, this is one that I liked for the most part. There's still, there's some that's like, come on, dude, just fuck off. Just write something normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these, once again, I don't believe in all of them, but it's very interesting to discuss and talk about and poke holes in a lot of them.
Yup.
Well, that would do it for this recess.
Oh, that was it.
That's it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, let us know in the comments on how you feel about these theories. Do they hold water? Is there another cartoon conspiracy theory that we missed? Let us know.
Is Jason really gullible for believing all these?
It's on the internet. It's got to be real.
It's true. Abraham Lincoln said that if you read it on the internet, it is true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Abraham Lincoln didn't lie.
Nope. It's on the internet. It's real.
Well, this was a good one. I'm sure that you'll find more if you feel like doing a part 3.
Oh yeah,
if the people demand it.
Come on, let's do it. I like doing them. They're fun.
Jason, you reminded me of an old Japanese guy from like a businessman from like the 1980s. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, USA. All right.
That's right. Well, join us next week where Darrell will pick himself up from his fall from the Tower of Tires and bring us another topic that made him say, "Wait, what?"
Jason, I died whenever I fell from the Tower of Tires. We've been dead this whole time.
There's days where I feel dead. There are days where I feel pretty dead.
You don't remember whenever you were killed by a serial killer bull and it raped you to death?
I hope I don't remember that.
Remember, Jason, remember.
No way would I want to remember that.
All right.
Well, until next week, guys. We'll see y'all then.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. If you would, tell your friends or your enemies that they can watch us on YouTube or Rumble. And if you don't want to see our face, or if they don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on your preferred audio platform. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, you name it, we're probably on there. Please like, review, and comment on whatever platform you joined us on today. We'd appreciate that a ton. Again, just thank you for listening and watching. We hope you'll join us next time. We'll make you say, wait, what?